Hello everyone and welcome to the second game of this best of 3 series of the best of 5 series between Kiwi Clones and xSix Gaming. xSixMystik is down 1-0 against Caliber right now, and let me just get this to normal speed because I screwed up a bit. Anyways, xSixMystik is down 1 game right now from Caliber. Caliber took that game, harassed us so well everywhere at once that Mystik was just overwhelmed at one point, and well, that is pretty much all that happened. Now, Mystik's teammate from xSix, wow, I have a brain freeze right now. Anyways, he actually played this map against a Terran player, and it ended up in a very cut map situation where both players have their half of the map. This middle here is completely divided into two, where their Zerg is on the left side, Terran on the right side. And this is actually a very difficult situation for the Zerg player, no matter if he's against Protoss or Terran, because that middle spot is actually very hard to bust through. It is easily fortifiable by Terran and Protoss players, and you really can't engage a max army head-on in the center of the map, because you will just throw away resources after resources of whatever you can actually find, and eventually you'll just starve to death. So hopefully that Mystik has learned from this and we won't be seeing that from him. I really hope we can see some multi-pronged attacks by Mystik, some drops, some Niduses, everything everywhere at once, and this is really how he's going to be able to take down Caliber in this game. Once again, he is going for a spawning pool first, no gas, followed by an expansion. Meanwhile, Caliber is actually going for a Nexus before the Forge this time, so that Nexus is going to be up and running that much faster, and this is a greedy opening that Probe denying without even noticing. And it is a bit greedier opening, and what happens a lot these days is if you plant a hatchery here, you can pay pretty hard for that Nexus first, because a hatchery here will force about half these probes to actually be pulled off to attack it, and that is just annoying. Takes up so much mining time, and I really hope that we see more of that sooner in the PvZ matchup. Anyways, this is the MLG version of the map of Shakura's Plateau, so we do have these neutral supply depots that as a player I love, but as a caster I hate, because they are kind of pink, especially when the opponent is pink. They are kind of pink on the map, and I always go something like, oh my god, there's something in the base, and yet it's a supply depot. So a bit confusing on that, but it's not too big of a deal. I know they're white, they're not pink, but you can see what I mean. Anyways, very, very, very fast third base by xSixMystik. So spawning pool straight into Double Expo. You can see that his second base is not even halfway done. He did spawn the Nexus first from his opponent Caliber, so he knows that he can do this pretty much pretty safely, and from this point on, one cancelled gateway to replace it by a Cybernetics core. So a little blunder here by Caliber. I don't think that it will matter that much though, because there is no plan for xSixMystik to actually attack anytime soon. This probe being sneaky, gonna try and walk up here. I wonder what his intentions are, you sneaky little probe. Maybe just sneak him here to plant a proxy pylon later on in the game, in case that Mystik actually gets a contain on Caliber. This probe can eventually serve its purpose, plant the pylon, and warp in reinforcements to attack the main base later on. Now the second base for Mystik is already up and running. He is now transferring 4 drones to the third base, so he really wants to keep that saturation equal between the second and third base. A queen should be started right now from Mystik to his third base, and his economy right now, even though he is behind, it should boom up so fast with 3 hatcheries, 3 queens on there. He is definitely gonna need a macro hatch eventually, because no way you can produce off of 3 fully mining bases off only 3 hatcheries like this. I like that he actually spread the creep very, very fast, because the investment on that hatchery will actually prevent you from using all your larvae, so might as well, right away anyways, so might as well just invest in that creep tumor. It will connect your second and your third base that much faster, as well as the first and your second base. And anyways, you can't even use all that larva. You can see that there are 4 larvae here, none at the main base, and he is just droning up like crazy. There's one zealot walking across the map, gonna try and take control of the watchtowers, and Mystik might be able to intercept it. Last game we actually saw some pretty nice Ling micro, especially at the beginning of the game, where he pulled 2 Lings right at the perfect time for them to have 8 HP each. Not an easy feat to achieve, actually. And it is now 47 to 52 harvesters. This is gearing up to be quite the long game. Meanwhile, a Void Ray in production from KCCaliber, with 3 queens already on the map, 1 Void Ray, a single Void Ray won't be able to do much, but this Overlord spots the robotics facility. So did he actually spot the Stargate? No, he did not. So he expects robotics facility tech to come out, maybe not a Void Ray. So even though it might, 1 Void Ray isn't much to attack 3 bases with 3 queens, that creep almost being connected as well, it's maybe not that, it might not be that efficient. I do believe he spotted it, yes, with the watchtower. Anyways, it will force at least some Spore Crawlers, and those Void Rays are so good in a Death Ball anyways, they might as well just be produced. Also, he can pick off Overlords. This Void Ray can actually do so much indirect damage. It is worth it getting anyways. Now he is, KCCaliber is actually adding on a Twilight Council and 2 more gateways. I am stuttering here. 3 more gateways actually. So he is going to be gearing up towards Blink Stalker, I think. Anyways, he is finally utilizing this idle probe that was there for so long, finally producing a Nexus there. So it is now 3 bases against 3 bases, well, 2.5 bases, and starting to wall this off, and this is one dangerous move to do. I mean, as a Protoss, your Death Ball is going to be quite immobile. I love that he's actually getting Blink Stalker and this far away Nexus, but even then the Zerg is so mobile that he can counterattack this base quite easily, and really it is kind of risky. You are kind of hoping that the Zerg player will not scout this anytime soon. Meanwhile, it is 120 supply to 77, so Mystik really taking the lead there. He is researching to Overlord Speed. I was gonna try and pronounce that, but apparently I caught myself before that I was not going to be able to pronounce it. It happens sometimes. I'm sorry. Anyways, he is researching Overlord Speed, and I really, really hope he researches Overlord Drop as well, because that would be so good on this map. As I said, if the Protoss player can just control this center area, there is no way that the Zerg player can actually just bust through that, especially with force fields, with Colossus, with all the Void Rays. The Death Ball is so powerful in the center of the map that if he actually utilizes drops, especially with this very far away base as well, I mean, drops could be so good. He might be able to intercept this. That could have been very nice, but he is going to just walk back home, suffer a couple of losses because of the Void Rays, and now producing 6 Hydras, as well as, there it is, drops. Ventral Sacs for the Overlord. That is one of the best moves he could have done, in my opinion. It is going to prove so effective, getting his 4th base at the same time. I love this play, because the 4th base is going to be pretty safe, especially since KCCaliber, if he tries to attack, there's so many options of counterattacking this 3rd base, this main base at the same time, that if KCCaliber actually commits to this 4th base, there's no way he can actually come back home in time. 2 Void Rays are going to make their way to the 4th base, might force a cancel for now, which would be great for KCCaliber. But even then, he is very spread out across this right side of the map. Sorry. And these 2 Void Rays, will they be able to cancel the hatchery? It is halfway dead. These Hydras are coming up here and target firing the Void Rays. They are not gonna die. They are gonna make their way. They are gonna run away, getting this hatchery about halfway down its full health. But this fourth base survives now. It is one huge drop. There is going to be one huge drop inside the third base. It does look like these overlords are just making their way. Meanwhile, the fifth base already up and running, and potentially running in 5 minutes for Mystique. I do think that he spotted this drop. He is going to pull back a lot of stuff into his third base, but will it be enough? This is one very, 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 very large drop. These Hydras are trailing behind. He needs to load them up and really drop all at the same time. This is one huge drop. I don't know if Caliber actually has enough to kill this. There is the huge engagement. Force field's not doing that much because obviously you're dropping on top of everything. These overlords are just being annoying right now. You can't target fire the Zerg army, and it looks like Caliber is actually going to be able to hold here. One Colossus making its way to the third base. It does go down pretty fast now. A lot of overlords are actually going to die here if he's not careful. Hydra's doing so much damage to those gateway units. He is not able to actually bust this, so Caliber is going to chase down overlords now. So the drop did do some damage, not that much. It was more of an exchange than any kind of direct damage. Now he's losing so many overlords though, especially these Blink Stalkers are chasing down. That is never good. He needs to produce a lot of overlords. So this engagement, as I said, it is more of an exchange than full-on damage. Another drop inside the main base, not going to do that much. A couple of worked-in Stalkers, are they actually going to be able to do that much damage? I'm surprised that he actually did that much damage. I thought that this Colossus could have cleaned that up very easily. Anyways, these Roaches are all gonna die, not doing that much damage, but at least it's keeping the Protoss occupied. It is forcing him inside his main, inside his third base. It is keeping his supply in check while the Zerg is actually maxed out. So even though it is not a fair exchange, it is still okay for Mystique to do this kind of stuff, and I love that he's actually dropping everywhere at once. It is so hard for the Protoss player, even with Blink, to go back and forth between his main and his third base, and this is what I was talking about. A drop inside the main base actually pulled back almost all of his forces, and now only a couple Blink Stalkers are inside the third base. Is he actually going to target down this Nexus that is huge? He gets it. Now he is targeting down more probes. And how many probes can he actually kill? Meanwhile, Mystique is not even going down in supply. He is just remaxing so fast at this point. Another attack at the fourth, at this point, I guess. Fourth base of Caliber. He is going to be able to kill this Nexus as well. Now, Caliber is actually going to be down to 2 bases, not mining from anywhere besides his almost mined out main and his almost mined out expansion. Mystique playing so well with his multi-pronged attack, and look at this, he is still maxed at this point. And really, Caliber is not looking good. Mining from only 2 bases is not where you want to be when the Zerg player has 5. This is still one scary army though. If he can warp in a couple more rounds, he could actually push and do some kind of damage. It looks like Mystique is trying to engage directly in the center of the map here with 2 Colossus. A couple of Corruptors are going to focus those down. I do believe that Caliber will be able to clean the rest of the Zerg army up, but look at this supply just not going down at this point. Still 181 to 115 supply, and it does not look good for Caliber. 175 to 108. I mean, Mystique still has 2,000 minerals banked up. He can produce mass lings, mass hydras, mass roaches. Roaches are actually not very gas expensive, so you can produce roaches pretty fast even though your gas income isn't that great. The main base is mined out as well as the expansion is almost mined out. He is transferring drones to his 5th and now starting his 6th base, and really I think Mystique is actually going to take this game, and we are going to go into a 3rd game in this other best of 3 series of the best of 5 series. That is fun to say. Anyways, it looks like Mystique is looking to do any kind of damage he can. That 3rd base is finally back up for Caliber, but he is just now starting to mine again from it. Another small engagement here next to Caliber's base. Again, he might be able to clean this up, but really it is too little. He needs to do a lot more damage. I would love to see him utilize those Blink Stalkers to maybe harass the 3rd or the 4th or main base of Mystique. It looks like he's trying to bust up here, and usually what happens is precisely this. When you try and bust up a ramp, you get force fielded or force failed out, and you have to back out. And really this is very cost efficient for Caliber, but it does not matter at this point. He does force a cancel on the 6th base. Small victory, but really he needs to do so much more damage. He's just waiting for this Observer to be able to blink up inside the 4th base. That might be able to do a bit of damage. There he goes. Meanwhile, Mystique is actually trying to bust through the main base. This hatchery will most likely go down, but again, Mystique still is going to have 2 full mining bases, plus his almost mined out natural, against only a single base for Caliber. This expansion is basically mined out. I mean, there are probably 300 minerals left total, and he is gearing up for another huge drop. If he can actually target down this Nexus, that would basically be game for Caliber, because he will not be mining from anywhere. And here it goes. He is inside the 3rd base. Once again, going to pick off the forces that are there, and he should go target down this Nexus right now and just run away. That would be the best choice right now. There he goes. The Roaches are finally targeting down the Nexus. This army is going to try and maybe counterattack or come and clean this up, but Caliber has his back against the wall at this point. There is not much that he can do. He loses his 3rd base. Now he's not mining at all. You can see that income will drop so fast in the mineral intake because there are only 2 small patches here. And while some Blink Stalkers are trying to blink up inside the main base, not doing too much. These Roaches are just chasing them down. And this is the last attempt for Caliber. He's going to try and push forward, but I mean, with all these forces from Mystique, he can just sacrifice a base, rally up all his forces, and just take this head on eventually. But he has to be careful. He cannot engage this army with small packs of Roaches like this. He needs to wait for his full head-on army, and I wonder why he did not just load up into the multiple Overlords he has. And actually, Caliber is doing quite a good job with his small last futile attempt. I don't know. He can actually just snipe this off and sacrifice his base. I don't even think it will matter. And Mystique really needs to finish this off. I do believe he is going to be able to. That is a lot of Roaches, a lot of Hydras. And there we go. More reinforcing Roaches will be able to clean this up, as well as the flank. And it looks like we are going into Game 3. Expect a GG anytime soon from Caliber. He could actually load up and drop some Roaches on the high ground. And, I mean, Caliber is not mining at all. He has 80 minerals per minute. GG, there it is. And we are going into Game 3, so tune in for that, guys.